Welcome to the Catalyst Effect podcast. I am your host, Isaac Carter. We're doing a special series of the Voice of the Founder in conjunction with Lions Den DFW. Lions Den DFW is having their annual pitch competition and entrepreneurship event at Dallas Baptist University on April 29th and 30th. Really encourage you folks to come on out. I do know that I am moderating a panel on AI productivity in your business and ministry. So going to be a really exciting time there. We've had the opportunity to speak to very many of the applicants. I think so far we've spoken to almost 40 applicants and had the opportunity to hear, Tonya, it's not just the fact that you're building a business, but the founder has a story, that kind of an origin story that leads them to the place they are to identify people that have a need. And then they create a solution to fill that need. So having a lot of really exciting conversations. We are here with another founder, Tonya Creamer. Help me, is it Tonya or Tonya?
Tonya.
Tonya Creamer. And you have a business that you are raising funds for.
Yes.
And so why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
It actually started a few years ago. It was right before the COVID. I started praying and talking to the Lord, and I went on a year of fasting. I did 30 days on, 30 days off, just a whole year of it. And I just learned a lot through that time. And on that time, God was putting on my heart that there were going to be, we're going to go through some really bad times as we get closer and closer to the end times. And so one of the things that he put on my heart was people needed to eat, and they needed to eat healthy. And so I started going back to my old neighborhood in Paris, Texas, and I started going back through it and realizing that people there they're in desperate need of help. So I started talking to other people about putting gardens in down there, and it went from talking to people, talking about putting gardens in, trying to help out what the community needs and stuff, to building I've got a prototype that I'm trying to build. It's a concept. It's a green home that actually is sustainable. And it has like the garden center. It'll have chickens. It'll have even a community center hub where they can come in and cook and teach their children there. So I have this whole concept that I'm working on, and it's for Growing Communities Foundation. I ended up making it a 501c3, which I'm still in the process of working on that. But other than that, that's what I want to, that was my idea, to build this, this huge green home that is sustainable for the neighborhoods that need it.
And this is going to be in Paris?
Yes, my first one will be in Paris. It depends on how much the Lord blesses me up on where I can use them at. They could be in any neighborhood that needs them.
Awesome. Yeah, I know Paris well. Our very first contract was with a trailer manufacturing company out in Paris. So we brought our RV out there, parked it down the lake, and lived there for about 6 months while we were starting the company. So a lot of migrants. ICE has been through there a few times and had a really large impact on the company, on the trailer manufacturing companies,
yes,
and on the communities there. Open trailers is their industry. So if you're not in open trailers or agriculture or very light retail, you're traveling for work or you're not working.
There's not a whole lot of places there that actually paid good enough money to have a living there. And food is a big shortage there. There's homeless that are there. I was working with the Salvation Army for a little bit. Because they have a garden there. But gardens are so seasonal. So, we need something that's sustainable throughout the year.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have like tomatoes, most nightshades, they will produce year round if you keep them in the right temperature for it.
Yes.
Okay, so you're working to solve food shortage. How did you come up with the idea of your because your greenhouse is more... are you doing hydroponics?
Actually, no, I haven't gone that far. I had a man reach out to me. He has actually been in the agriculture business for over 20 years. and he and I have been talking about some different ideas. But hydroponics was not something that was dealing with. I mainly just get it in the ground and grow it that way. But if it comes up, if there's a donation or something that they want to use, give us hydroponics, I would be more than happy to learn those and use those. But we're just trying to keep it where it gives the children skills. It gives older people something to do, because a lot of older people, they love to garden, but to keep it up is harder on them. But if there's a community surrounding them, and rallying with them, it'll be a lot easier for them to go and to do this. So, and the other part of this idea is to eventually make it where I have a farm there, so we can actually help with that. So that will be a for profit, and then my green homes would be a nonprofit. So it's two ideas, but all doing the one in the community.
Yeah, I grew up just north of Detroit, and Detroit for decades has been what they call a food desert. Regulations don't really allow for these folks to have their gardens and grow their own food. The soil quality has been depleted so heavily through industrialization over the years. Major problem that needs to be solved. And so your solution, have you built your first green home yet?
No, that is what I'm working on, is the first one. So I'm hoping with the Lion's Den that I could actually get, the money to build the first prototype, and then go from there. Because once you get it built, then it's easier to show people how to work, and donations come in a lot better that way. So this is my dream, is to get this up and going for them, and and to possibly use it in any places that are needed.
Awesome. All right. Well, how, and obviously solving food crisis for neighborhoods, really important, and definitely solves more of a social concern. But how does that glorify God and build His kingdom?
Well, just loving on people glorifies God. I feel like some of them have felt rejected and neglected and abused, over the years. And if you go back on like the side of town that I grew up on, it still remains the same. They're neglected over there. They're and they are considered the rejects of the town, because the town doesn't grow that way. It grows the other way. They actually have streets over there that are turning back into dirt because the city doesn't maintain it, and it's very, very sad. So just showing God's love and providing the things that God gives us, is gonna spread it even more. And that's that's my goal, is to provide the love that God gives me to give them.
Yeah, over on the east side, as you start heading down towards Clarksville, it's it's kind of rough. We used to have a ranch over in Clarksville, and the closest town was Paris, because they had torn out the hospital out in Clarksville, and there was nothing out there. So we would run back into Paris, and it's a different world. I go into Honduras and walk into a shopping mall, and there's Payless shoes, there's Radio Shack. It's like you go back in time 20 years. You go to the eastern part of Paris, and over there, that whole county, it's like you go back 50 years. New cars and everything. Yeah, it's kind of forgotten areas, and so bringing food in to those areas and giving them some hope and helping them rebuild and start. The food insecurity, it affects a very large percentage of children in the United States, and Paris has a very high migrant population right now, and a very high poverty level population. So bringing food security to that population is really, really critical. Love to see where your heart is there, Tonya. Well, thank you so much for joining. We have heard some really great and inspirational stories here on The Voice of the Founder, and very exciting to see what God is doing, and kind of how Lions Den is there to support those folks. Tonya, if anybody wants to reach out to you, how would they reach you?
They can reach me on my website at www.growingcommunitiesfoundation.org.
Awesome.
And there's contact information there.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Great.
Thank you.